You might picture a quiet, traditional small town when you hear the name Marysville, but the reality is much different. The city operates as a massive advanced manufacturing engine and a global research hub for Central Ohio. Founded in 1816 as a frontier settlement in the Northwest Territory, Marysville built a reputation over the next century as the shaded city, thanks to its dense canopy of maple trees. Today, those tree-lined streets sit right next to highly developed corporate infrastructure. The region is anchored by the 33 Smart Mobility Corridor, a testing ground for autonomous vehicles, and the massive footprint of Honda of America, which provides secure, highly compensated roles for tens of thousands of residents. That heavy concentration of engineering and executive jobs creates a highly inelastic demand for suburban housing. Buyers arriving here have strong corporate salaries, and they rarely leave, which insulates the local real estate market against broader economic downturns. This map of Central Ohio highlights the US 33 corridor connecting Dublin to Marysville, and right here in the call-out box for the Scott Farms neighborhood, you see two aggressive metrics: a median of 8 days on the market and a 100% list-to-sale ratio. A 100% list-to-sale ratio means the negotiation friction you find in softer markets simply does not exist here. Homes routinely sell for full asking price or above it. You have zero buyer leverage, meaning you have to be perfectly prepared before you write an offer. Because every dollar is accounted for in this bidding environment, you need to understand exactly what you are paying for. The neighborhood has distinct internal divides, and missing them makes it incredibly easy to miscalculate a home's actual value. Scott Farms is split into two distinct sections, and the dividing line is Scott Farms Boulevard. On the west side, you will find the established earlier builds. Most of these homes were constructed between the early 2000s and the 2010s. These west side properties tend to run a little smaller, averaging around 1,900 square feet, which makes them a highly accessible entry point for first-time buyers trying to enter the district. Cross over to the east side, and you enter the modern section. Most of the homes here were built from 2018 onward. The footprint jumps significantly on this side of the boulevard. These newer homes typically average 2,500 square feet or more. That extra space comes with a direct financial trade-off. The larger footprints and modern layouts naturally command a higher purchase price and carry significantly higher property tax assessments. This comparison table highlights the divide. Left, west side pre-2018 builds average 1,900 square feet. Right, east side modern builds push 2,500 square feet. You cannot accurately compare these two sides. Age and size vary too drastically, and combining them guarantees a faulty property valuation. Knowing which side of the boulevard aligns with your 10-year plan and your capital reserves is your first required step before entering a bid. The builder structured Scott Farms around a concept known as life cycle housing. They deliberately mixed different architectural footprints so the neighborhood can accommodate you at every stage of your career and family life. The backbone of the area is the traditional two-story, ranging from 1,900 to 2,700 square feet. It groups all 3 or 4 bedrooms together on the upper floor, creating a consolidated sleeping block that parents highly prefer for safety. Then you have the single-level ranch. Offering zero-stair living, this layout appeals heavily to empty nesters seeking to downsize, as well as local retirees. Because the demand from that aging demographic is so high, and the overall supply of ranches is tightly constrained, these single-story properties experience the absolute lowest days on market in the entire subdivision. At the top of the hierarchy is the 5-level split. This is the premium tier, sprawling across 5 vertical elevations, reaching 4,200 square feet. This decision tree maps floor plans to buyers. Downsizers choose the ranch, families secure the 2-story, and professionals target the 5-level split. The split isolates the owner's suite, providing acoustic privacy for remote work. Securing this premium square footage requires top-of-market capital. This architectural variety acts as an internal stabilizer for property values. Residents can trade up or downsize without leaving their street. That creates a constant internal pool of buyers and minimizes neighborhood turnover. The physical layout of the neighborhood also solves a major daily problem for families. Navin Elementary School is embedded directly within the boundaries of Scott Farms, placing it less than a half-mile walk for most homes. The geographic center of the community is a dedicated 9-acre nature preserve and retention pond. Maintaining that scenic space falls strictly to the Homeowners Association, which operates to prevent any visual or structural decay in the subdivision. Participation is mandatory. Dues are billed at $70 quarterly, and the HOA enforces compliance with financial penalties, up to property foreclosure for serious delinquency. You also need to factor in the county property taxes. Tax records show that during intense buyer demand, the county adjusts its taxable baseline upward, causing sharp jumps in your assessed property value. This quadrant chart plots the lifestyle impact against the cost friction of living here. Fixed costs of HOA dues and taxes buy you the high-impact ease of hyperlocal schools like Navin Elementary, while your commute into Dublin remains a predictable 20 to 30-minute drive. The trade-off is retail proximity. The neighborhood itself registers a walk score of 0 for shopping, meaning you will rely on your vehicle to access big-box utilities, groceries, and hardware at the nearby Coleman's Crossing Power Center. When you want discretionary leisure, you drive into historic uptown Marysville. The restored Avalon Theater and venues like Leon's Garage offer a boutique experiential contrast to the heavy commercial zones. You are paying a stability premium in HOA fees, taxes, and car dependency. In exchange, you secure an environment where your child can navigate to a top-tier school without crossing a major intersection. Scott Farms is not built for high-risk speculative flipping. It is a highly defensive real estate asset engineered for long-term demographic stability. Looking at this scorecard for the Dublin commuter, this neighborhood is a strong match. You trade the massive tax burden of Dublin for a highly predictable 25-minute drive down US. 33, while securing significantly more square footage for your money. For the growing family scorecard, it scores perfectly. The hyperlocal schooling pipeline and the ability to trade up your floor plan without pulling your kids out of their social circles provides immense logistical value. However, this scorecard shows exactly who should avoid the area. If you require walkable dining, high-density nightlife, or total autonomy over how you manage your property, Scott Farms is not your target. The strict architectural oversight that protects the neighborhood's property values will create immediate conflict for buyers who refuse to operate under an active homeowners association. If you decide to move forward, map your current life stage against the inventory. Confirm whether the early 2000s builds on the west side or the larger post-2018 footprints on the east side fit your capital requirements before you bid. Your equity here is heavily protected by the massive industrial anchors nearby. The thousands of jobs provided by Honda and the 33 Smart Mobility Corridor ensure a continuous influx of well-capitalized buyers looking for exactly this type of housing. Scott Farms is the optimal play if you are ready to trade urban proximity for suburban security, frictionless logistics, and a highly predictable educational pipeline.